Hello, hello, beautiful people. That was Keep Your Head Up by Tupac. You were listening to XLR Lander University Radio. It's your girl, Lauren Deschanel, and your favorite rockin' radio host, Scotty Rocket, bringing you Tupac tonight and every Tuesday night.
Hello, hello, hello. It's such an honor to get to be here today.
I am so excited.
I am really excited. Lauren has been working nonstop on a little special something that is kicking off today.
Today is the first episode of my celebration of Black History. It is my passion project, and I've been working on it since, I want to say, September. It's a 4-part series with 4 episodes titled The Movement, The History, The Music, and The Future. And tonight you are listening to The Movement.
The Movement.
The Movement.
I'm so hype. Okay. So we wanted to cover a couple things just in case you're new here, new to class. And so I'm going to ask you a couple questions, Lauren, because this is really your baby.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like a babysitter who comes in sometimes, but this is your baby.
It really is.
Okay. So you kind of said it in the name, but what is this project?
This project is a celebration of Black history through music.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping music in mind. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. How did it come about? What's its little origin story?
So the story goes is that when I was in my radio production class last semester with Reese, shout out to Reese for being amazing and allowing me to do this, I had a project where it was called a playlist project, and you had to make a playlist of songs from each decade, and all of those songs had to mean something to you. And at first I thought, well, maybe I should make this all about Black history. There's so much music from each decade, starting from I want to say the 50s, maybe even before that, going up to now. And I thought it'd be really cool to explore that. And then I thought, well, why don't I just make this bigger? So I did.
She really did. I remember you doing that project. So for our listeners who somehow don't know, Lauren and I are roommates, and we take a lot of the same classes, and I had taken radio production before, but she took it last semester.
I did.
And so she was coming up with her playlist project, and I was like, yo, it's not that hard, just pick out some stuff, which is what most people do. But Lauren was like, no, I'm going to stress for weeks, probably not weeks, but a week on making sure that I get this right. Oh, does this blend in with this? Does this vibe with this? Am I going to have a very specific theme? Should I put this in chronological order? Did you?
I did.
Yeah. She went ham on this little project, and that's one thing I love about Lauren. She doesn't just go 110%. She's like, how can I break the system with my excellence?
I've been groundbreaking for the last 2 semesters. I've been doing so much. Honestly.
And then she's like, I don't know why I'm so tired.
Every single time. It'll be it could be 5 o'clock, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. What am I going to do?
What am I going to do? She really do be like that. But, it's one of her most lovable qualities. It might stress her out, but, it's nice for everyone who's around her, especially her professors who get to see that kind of work. A lot of people try to get through real easily, and Lauren doesn't settle for any less than her best.
I really don't. I always say that I'm just trying to get to Friday, but I'm not.
No, she's like, okay, let me make sure I analyze every single part of Monday.
Let's plan Monday to the T.
All right. She said that this was, in fact, based off a playlist project. And so all of this special is going to involve music. So can you explain a little bit of the music that we're going to be playing today?
So this episode is not the one that's going to be in chronological order. Mm-hmm. That'll be in the next episode and the one after that, which will be about the history and the music. So all of these songs talk about the movement, talking about the civil rights movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, the movement that's been continuing since we've been here as Black people. And I think it's really interesting that Marvin Gaye was singing about the same things that you hear Trey Songz singing about. And I think that's, while it does feel very painful, it is very beautiful that we have just picked up this fight and carried it. We don't settle, and that's amazing.
Gosh, okay. I know you guys listening are like, oh yeah, I'm super excited. I promise you, I am more excited than you. This is a competition now, and I am more excited than you because this is like top tier Lauren. And it's beautiful just how much she's grown in the past 2 years, in the past year, even within the past few weeks of being back this semester. And I'm so excited.
You look like you're just in awe right now.
Yeah, I feel like a proud DJ parent.
I feel like somehow you're still losing the competition because my grandma is definitely winning.
Shout out to you, Grandma.
Shout out to Grandma.
Roll call to Grandma.
Roll call? There's like a whole list. Shout out to the entire Barnes family. Like, straight up. Shout out to everyone I'm related to.
Yeah.
If we're related, just shout out to you.
I love that. But, okay, as Lauren said earlier, this is part 1 of a 4-part series.
Yes.
She said that today's episode is titled The Movement. And we do have a little special guest star. If you guys are familiar with our show and old episodes, we had a guest star one time, and it was done in a very specific, safe way.
Because of Rona season. I guess I shouldn't call it that, but it's better than than everything else I've been calling it. But because of Rona season, we haven't been able to have guests in here that are comfortable being in here. We are comfortable being in the station because we live together. Mm-hmm. But with our other guests, we want to make sure that we're doing this in the safest way possible. So all of our interviews for this month will be pre-recorded. Yes. But you're hearing us live, and you will hear us live again at the end for a recap.
So our first interview we have is with Jazmyne McCrae.
I had so much fun interviewing her.
Yes.
She is great. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with us. I think she's the only person I've met that is busier than I am.
Honestly, I just the lack of sleep.
The lack of sleep.
You guys' faces.
The fact that I still talk to my grandma at 7 o'clock in the morning, like every other day.
I love that. That's amazing, though. But Jazmyne McCrae.
So Jazmyne McCrae, she is an activist and grad student at the University of South Carolina, USC. And she agreed to talk to us about her work with activism, why she believes in this movement, why it is so important, and she brings up some interesting topics about why we should keep fighting, why we should keep pushing.
My name is Jazmyne McCrae. I am a grad student at the University of South Carolina, studying secondary education, so I will be a social studies educator next year. Very exciting. And I hope to continue with my PhD, but I also am a community organizer and work for a group called Repeal the Heritage Act, where we do just that. We're working to repeal a bill that protects Confederate monuments throughout the South Carolina region.
So if you guys couldn't tell by context clues, that's exactly why she's here on Tupac for Lauren's special project.
My special passion project, a celebration of Black history. In this first episode, we are talking about the movement.
Yes.
So, what does the movement mean to you?
For me, the movement is something that I've picked up from past generations. Number one, like this is something that I think all of us can agree on is a continuation of work that has been happening since 1619, arguably with acts of resistance by Black and Brown people since existing in this place we call the United States of America. For me, this movement is about liberation. A lot of people might say it's for civil rights, but I think it's so much more than that. We can talk about civil rights all day, but we have human rights that are being infringed upon so viciously in our state and in our entire country that we should all be working to be against. Unfortunately, we live in a system that has lots of distractions, from school to work to pandemics to just normal things happening in our everyday lives, to needing money to just survive, that make liberation seem like a fantasy for so many people, when this has been written about, sung about, danced about, dreamed about for centuries. Like I said, since 1619, this is a movement that I'm just happy to pick up and be a part of. And will continue surely after our generation as well.
I think that perfectly actually ties into the next question.
It does.
Do you find any comparisons, or like what comparisons would you say you had between the civil rights movement and Black Lives Matter?
Ooh, from being one of the most disliked movements and disliked phrases and disliked groups in America then and now, to being completely misunderstood then and now, to it being a mix of incredible, wonderful colors of people who all realize that we need to work to a greater goal together if we're going to see anything happen. I think we can take it back even further, though, to Reconstruction, specifically in our state, and see the exact parallels that we find ourselves in right now, from 1873 and 1874 and on to 2020 and 2021, where we have this opportunity to wake up and to really reconstruct our ideas of what America is for all of us. What I hope is that we don't fall into the same thing that we fell into last time, which is a compromise with white supremacy, and we back down. And what I think and what I pray is the case is that so many of us aren't willing to not back down and to really take a stand against this, even if the leadership may not be quite as adamantly against white supremacy as followers are. Hopefully that can change as we continue to push forward.
Just to kind of piggyback off of that, what was your first dabble with activism?
So I was a teenager, was in high school when Trayvon Martin was killed. And that was my very first experience with seeing people out in the streets and seeing activism unfold. I always now think, I regret it to this day, that I did not just ignore what my parents were saying and just went to Charlotte that night and joined the thousands in there who joined in a mass grieving for Trayvon Martin. But I was scared of my safety, and I was listening to my parents, who of course were scared for my safety as well. So that was my first dabble with seeing activism and knowing that this could be done and that this was led by young people. Now at 25, I can say I've been in marches, organized marches, helped people get registered to vote, helped feed people, helped do all these things that activists do, and I still have issues with calling myself one for some reason. Like I just participate in activism, but I am not an activist. There are so many people who devote their entire being to this work, and not to say that I am not devoted, but I do know that I have so much still to learn from them, and so much work still to do in my own community, to know that I am the definite answer, and being able to be like, yeah, other than just dabbling, I am an activist. It's weird.
We love that. But yeah, we actually wrote down that for both of us also, our first dabble with activism was Trayvon Martin. We were both in middle school at the time. You were in 7th grade? Yeah, she was in 7th grade, I was in 6th grade. I know for me, we had this track that all the 6th graders had to walk on, and when it happened and we all heard, we were like, what? And there was like this movement thing on the internet, and it was like, put your hoodies up or something like that. And so like you just saw this track full of 6th graders with their hoodies up,
putting their hoodies on,
kind of like a little mini march kind of thing. And I think that was my first.
Now looking back on it, there actually was a hoodie day that we participated in. However, my high school was, when I say predominantly white, I mean it was dominantly white. Mm-hmm. And if you were Black or brown or other, you were just that, you were other. And even then, in a moment where I was so sure everyone saw the same thing that I had just seen and heard the same footage, heard the same audio I had just heard, I remember being questioned as to why I would wear a Black hoodie, especially, why that mattered to me. And of course, being white passing, being this like easily able to conceal who I am on the inside, I always say it's a double-edged sword, and I try and wield it for good, because it is such a privilege to have this skin and say what I say and talk to government officials the way I talk and scream defund the police to cops and not be arrested. It's a great privilege to be able to do that. But because I do that, I'm not going to cower any longer and especially be afraid of what a questioner might think of me if I put up my hood ever again. Now it's like, well, why aren't you putting on your hood? You know, why aren't you part of this work? Because this is, in my opinion, not the burden of Black and brown bodies to bear, not alone, right? Like, this is the burden of all of America's, of white Americans. And I think it's important for us to turn it back around on them and say, well, why aren't you participating? What is that reason? Mm-hmm. And kind of try and pry, if we can, if it's safe enough, and if it's a person that we feel safe with doing something like that. And that, in my opinion, is activism. In the same way, you're trying to open and enlighten someone to a different way of thinking.
So let's take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome back to Tupac. You're listening to us on XLR Lander University Radio. We've got a special project today with Jazmyne McCrae. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing. Before the break, we were talking about the movement, what it is, what does it mean to us, and kind of different experiences we've had in terms of activism and, little starting points for us. So, Lauren, why don't you kick it off with our next question?
This question has actually been one that I've been waiting to ask for a while. It came to me in the car one day. So, why does it seem like we're always asking for too much?
Because white supremacy makes liberation seem like that is too much to ask for. Like having the same rights and same freedoms as them, to walk safely in your skin and not be judged and discriminated and not be killed in the streets, is too much to ask for. We've always been told that, so we have to believe that, right? Like we've always been told that, and once you realize that actually is not much to ask for. Asking for equitable schools is actually a normal thing to ask for. If you look at different countries, they have schools that are equitable. They give money to schools and they're funded. Or asking for healthcare is not too much to ask for. We're dumping trillions of dollars into a war budget, but we have millions of Americans who are dying without insurance. We have over 300,000 who died of COVID. And I always wonder to myself, what if we had just laid down the bipartisanship and laid down the fact that this is too much and actually cared about human life? Human life is not too much to ask for. Asking for a happy life is not too much to ask for. It's written in our Constitution that we're supposed to have this pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. And that's only given to the same white men who wrote that document and look like them. And it's everybody else that is unable to have that because they weren't thought of when those words were even written.
I think that ties in really, really perfectly with what you said earlier about the comparisons between the civil rights movement and Black Lives Matter, and how last time it was kind of just settling, like, okay, this is good enough for now.
Right. Yeah. And really, you know, when we talk about this movement, like, I was just talking to someone earlier about this, but like the civil rights movement has never really ended. Movement doesn't stop. You know what I mean? Even if we think it has, like our bodies still move even when we stand still. So it might have just been laying dormant for a generation or kind of waiting for the right ones to pick up this fight again. But liberation takes so long. And, you know, I have students who are 16, 17 who think the world is over, like that there's no point in voting. There's no point in trying. Like, where is that hope that people are talking about? Because I don't see it. And for me, it's like hope is in history. Hope is in our history. We've seen the women of the civil rights movement keep up hope for the masses. And I specify women because they are the ones that are behind all the work of men that we sing praises of, and who kept them going, who kept beating that drum and kept going. And yeah, that's my answer. This movement is not over. It's wasn't back then. It's just continuing.
It really does continue when you think about it, because you can think about George Floyd and you can think about Trayvon Martin, and then you can also compare that to Emmett Till.
Yeah, Emmett Till and Trayvon Martin were about the same age. Last year, I was privileged enough to take a trip through this deep South. I say to the deep South as if South Carolina is not part of that, but we are the deepest South you can get, in my opinion. We went to Mississippi, and we went to where Emmett Till's body was defiled and thrown in off a bridge, because that's what they did to him. And it was so powerful. And I don't think, you know, it's a privilege to even say I've been able to do that. But it shouldn't take someone feeling that kind of visceral emotion and going to a site like that to feel for what is going on in our country right now. It should not take Black body after Black body, boy after boy, woman after woman being shot and killed, or just lynched, or beaten, and not having any justice. It should not continue any further. But we have more names that we do not know yet. Even right now, we have new names that we do not know. But we are still stuck on 3, when honestly a 4th had happened right then. A transgender victim named Tony McDade was killed around the same time as George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. And unfortunately, we have issues with remembering all of us who have been killed in the grips of supremacy, really, in the grips of hate. And hopefully that's another thing that working towards liberation can do, is find trans liberation, find LGBTQ liberation within Black Lives Matter, within the civil rights movement. That has always been an issue. Even with our biggest leaders, homophobia and transphobia ran rampant. And they deserve justice just as much as we all do.
We will be right back with Tupac on XLR Lander University Radio. XLR Lander University Radio. You're listening to us, and we are here with Jazmyne McCrae. She's given us a lovely interview about activism and the movement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I've been loving this conversation.
Aww, we have to. We really have.
Honestly, we're probably going to talk about this for hours after we're off of here and off air.
Which we are not doing this
The show that never really happened, but happened. Anyway. So a quick reminder for everybody who's listening to Talk. This is
a pre-recorded
thing. So yeah, if you're tuning in for, the how manyth time we've been on here or the first time we've been on here, TUPOC stands for 2POC because we are
two people of color.
Yes, we are. Boom, boom. I am half Filipino, half white.
I am Black and white. Sorry for the hesitation because my percentages are off.
Yeah. There's a whole episode about that, so you should go and listen to that.
On our website.
It's the first one?
On our website.
Plug it.
2poc.weebly.com and our Instagram at 2POCXLR.
Thank you so much for doing that because I completely forgot our URL. It's been a while, guys. We're recording this before our first episode airs, like our first live episode.
So if we sound different, we are.
All right, back on with the interview. We just mentioned that we are both biracial, and you too. So,
yes.
Do you find that being biracial has any impact on your activism?
For sure. There, like I was saying earlier, that like it's a double-edged sword in a way. Sometimes I'm not taken seriously or not seen as a valid voice to listen to, and I actually completely understand it. I get it. I don't experience life the same as my Black sisters and brothers do. I don't. However, I think once people get to know me, they realize, oh, she's not just like one of those that like posted a black square and like has just now realized she's Black. Like, oh, no, I actually have studied this and this is my life. This is what I was taught growing up. Like, my dad has always wanted me to be proud of my Blackness, even though I may not look like what he expected, honestly, from a biracial child. I always think it's funny how my dad is so dark skinned and I came out so white, but honestly, it just goes to show that skin color is so freaking obscure, and like race is like so made up in general. Like when we talk about being biracial, like that in and of itself is mind-boggling to people centuries ago who believe that different bloods should not mix. Like who really believe that Black blood and white blood were very different from each other and should not touch and mix and create out of love like a child. So the experiences I have in activism because of being biracial are far less bad than a lot of people honestly expect. Like a lot of people are like, so how is it? Like, how is when you're in the room? Like, do they listen to you? And the answer is yes. Because honestly, even colorism exists in all spaces. Takes a long time to deconstruct those kinds of ideas and take those ideas out of your head. And for that, I try and be the one in the room as a megaphone. My job is to just make your voice louder, not my voice louder. My voice has always been heard. I can talk as loud as I want. I know I'm protected. If you have a cause that is being unheard and you are a Black woman, especially, or if you are a Black LGBTQ member and you're in my community, you better be coming to me so I can make that issue known and be just loud as possible and obnoxious, and then provide you the resources so you can continue to do that and be knowledgeable, be protected, and have a network of people who support you in that work too.
That's so great.
Thanks.
I'm gonna skip that and go to this next question. Okay. What do you wish someone had told you before you started this journey?
Slow down. I definitely burnt out a lot in the summer. That's when I was on the ground, and I say on the ground as if I don't like do things, but that's when I was on the ground almost every single day, and loud and emotional and in this motherly state where I was ensuring that the people around me were safe and okay. But in doing so, I never slowed down to make sure I was okay. And it took protests having to stop, and really like me realizing that, oh yeah, no one wants to be out in the streets right now. I should probably like chill myself. I think the week after, I was just so depressed because I was tired and exhausted and felt like I had nothing to do anymore, no reason. And really it was because my body was just so tired and my brain had been going a mile a minute, and I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't taking my medications, I wasn't going to see the therapist that I've seen for years, wasn't watering myself so that I could continue to shine and be the awesome flower for everybody else. And for that, that's the one big tip I say for everybody else now, but I wish I listened to everyone who told me then, is just slow down and take care of yourself, because the only way that you are able to take care of others is if you take care of yourself first.
That's beautiful.
Thanks. It took a long time to realize that.
And we always talk about how like we do need breaks. That's something that we're both kind of starting to realize this year, especially needing to take breaks this year. Oh my gosh, it's 2021.
I keep on catching myself saying the same thing, then reminding, oh wait, this year will be just like last year. Like, as awful as that says, we will be like this until the end of this year, probably into next year. I keep on trying to get myself into that headspace.
Yeah.
Really hard.
That's definitely advice that we needed to hear, because we have a habit of putting on so much work onto ourselves and not taking the time to properly rest and slow down.
It's because it's a distraction. It's a good distraction from the world that we're in and not being able to, think about what might be going on just a couple blocks down or back at home and stuff. Taking on more work is easy sometimes. It's a semi-natural response to trauma, is to just plug along and keep on going. And I say trauma because we are all traumatized by the last year, by seeing a coup d'etat happen at the Capitol, oversaturation of murder in the media, to having really difficult conversations with friends and family that possibly have led to burned bridges and like unmended relations, like you don't think it could ever be fixed again. Like, that's trauma, and none of us have been allowing ourselves to just process that, internalize it, and take care of ourselves. So yeah, this year I've been like, yeah, sure, I'll do that interview, but I'm not going to do 6 in 1 week. that was the life I was living. It was like literally taking on way too much. And now I can be selective and not selective as like snooty, but selective so I can take care of myself and know that I'm not overburdening myself.
Well, we are absolutely honored that
you chose us.
You chose us.
We made the cut.
Yeah.
We did it.
Listen, when Reese told me that I needed to talk to you, I was like, okay, I'll talk. No problem. Don't worry. You came through, Reese. So
you came through.
And you were just so great through email, and you were really just patient with me and my bad emailing. So I love speaking with students, and honestly, just like being in college myself, I was a student who was always in their books and in the library and never participated in like anything. So when I see that you guys are like studying and doing all these great things and handling a radio show, like of course I'm going to help you. Like that's the least I can do.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Oh wait, let's close out and then we'll do like a little close out and then we'll say like a proper goodbye.
Yeah.
Or see you later.
Can I give a shout out to my org, Repeal the Heritage Act?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You can go ahead and do that
right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the work that I do, aside from just organizing in communities, is an organization called Repeal the Heritage Act. That is working for just its title, Repealing the Heritage Act. What the Heritage Act is a unconstitutional law that has been put in place since 2000. That was a compromise between Democrats and Republicans in the state legislature to remove all Confederate battle flags off the State House grounds, but protect over 100 Confederate monuments throughout our state, as well as a few other more frivolous monuments. However, what this restricted is any local entity. When I say local entity, I mean a public high school to a university, to a town, to a city, cannot make any changes to a monument or building without the approval of the state. That is some bogus stuff. Like USC cannot rename Sims until the state house agrees that that should be changed. And we need 2/3 to make that change. And I can tell you that just will not happen in any state legislature. It's really hard to get 2/3 to agree on something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested in helping us in any sort of way, you are so welcome to join along. Follow us at Repeal the Heritage Act on Instagram or at Repeal for SC on Twitter, where we keep you guys updated on all things legislation and all things monuments. And I would also say start to pay attention to the names and monuments around your own campus and towns, because like I said, there's over 150 just monuments, but the amount of street names, building names, small plaques devoted to supremacy that were put up when the civil rights movement began is gross, is abhorrent, and is not what South Carolinians should stand for any longer. So help us out with repealing the Heritage Act and letting your legislators know that you want them to repeal it this year.
Mm-hmm. We'll be posting those links in our posts on Instagram and all that jazz, as well as when we post it up on YouTube later on. So be sure to check those out, guys. For real, for real.
This is Tupac.
I was about to say, this is America.
That was a joke. That was a
joke. All right.
But hey, guys, welcome back. We're here live. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're not recorded.
Yeah. Earlier was recorded, but now is real.
Yeah.
Earlier was real, but now is now time.
Unless you're listening to us on YouTube.
Then it is recorded, and that was a recording within a recording.
Wow.
So to all of our people live, you are here.
You're
in
here.
the now.
How about time for a roll call?
Roll call. All right, first up we have...
My grandma. Shout out to my grandma. I love you so much. I'll probably wake you up tomorrow.
Aww. Second up we have Olivia.
Shout out to Olivia and her new puppy.
Yes. Oh, the puppy was whining in Finn's sleep earlier.
Oh.
No Finn.
Shout out to Yaya, my puppy.
Shout out to Yaya. Yaya? Yeah.
What?
I was trying to say you're good, but I messed up. Yeah.
She's good.
All right.
She's a little sick, but she's good. She's all right.
She's gonna be all right.
She's gonna be all right.
That's right. Shout out to my mom.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah. Shout out to moms. Yeah.
Shout out to my dad.
Yeah.
Shout out to all my cousins, my aunties, my uncles, everybody who's listening.
Yeah. Shout out to Bianca. I'm glad you made it home safely.
Shout out to my cousin Nia. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my cousin Antoine.
Shout out to Thomas, who was like, is this where the cool kids are at? And I was like, yeah, welcome to the cool kids table.
This is honestly the coolest show.
It is.
We have a lot of cool shows on XLR, but this one's
so dope.
This one's all right.
And
we're going to keep making that joke.
So I want to take a little minute to throw back to Joel. We were talking to Joel, and he was like, you guys are all right. And we're like, he was meaning it like really sincerely.
Yeah.
But we were like, so we just all right?
Yeah, and then he was like, no, I meant it. No. I didn't mean it that way. I meant like you guys are all right. And I was like oh, he meant it right. He meant it the 80s way.
You're all right, kid.
You're all right, kid. He would say it like that. Shout out to Jasmine McCrae.
Shout out to Jasmine McCrae.
Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Absolutely.
Giving us this beautiful episode.
Yes. And we're still kind of reveling in it.
I know. I can't wait to have her back on.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll be able to have her on live next time.
Yeah, this is like a formal invitation
to be in here live. We have another mic.
Yeah. Shout out to Reese for hooking us up.
Yeah, shout out to him for hooking me up with all of the people I'm going to be interviewing. Like, he's been so great. He gave me this platform. He's allowed me to bring this project to life. I brought the project to him, and he said, let's make it our passion project. I wasn't even a director yet for XLR. Mm-hmm. And this project is why I'm a director.
Yeah. So happy to have you in the room where it happens now.
Not the Hamilton references.
But, yeah. And just, shout out to everybody listening. If we didn't call you by name, we're sorry. It's probably on you. No,
also, happy Black History Month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's, why we're doing
it is
this specifically.
And everybody just pay attention to my Facebook posts. I post a different Black History fact every day of February, and I've been doing so for 2 years now.
Side note, this is like a little tiny business meeting, company meeting.
Yeah.
Can you start tagging Tupac so that it just immediately shares to Tupac's page?
Will you show me how?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just at 2POC.
Oh, you have to put the at?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
okay,
how you tag people, girl.
I didn't know it was like that on Facebook because you don't have ats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it erases the at once you tag them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we cool.
It's cool. I'm just the social media mongrel of
literally the entire department.
Yeah. Lander University, what do you mean? Anyway. back to us
the show.
Actually having a show because we're supposed to be talking about it. So again, that was part 1 of our Black History project. And I went to the wrong part.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We're on Talk 5.
This is, it's live because we're messing up. I'm messing up.
It's okay. I got this.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was it like going into this? I expressed what it was like for me. What was it like for you?
For me, it was because we both do a lot of planning, but for this, I really felt like I wanted you to have this spotlight because this month is really for you.
Yeah.
And
everyone has heard about it.
Yeah. And it was exciting to get to watch you really move and make all these connections. I'm excited for the rest of the interviews. I'm not in the rest of the interview. Sorry, guys. I know. I'm sorry. But but I'll be in most of the other episodes for these recaps.
Yeah, you will be. Except for the one about the music, but that's okay.
Yeah. But
you'll be back for the last episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was just really nice getting to watch you just hone in on all of this. And it's been an honor to get to be on this, just in general. So while it was nerve-wracking for you, it's like a proud parent over here for me.
Still is nerve-wracking.
Yes,
we're not done yet. I will not be calm until March.
Maybe.
Not even March. Maybe at this rate, June.
It's okay. You're gonna be all right.
I am gonna be all right.
Do you want to? I know you answered a little earlier, but what was it like for you going into this, like today specifically? Coming into the station and setting this up.
I was scared. I've been dreaming about this. I've been dreaming about things that could go wrong. I kept forgetting that it's not all live.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so much harder to be live, but then adding in the element of a pre-recorded interview and having to edit that interview, that's also nerve-wracking. And my brain doesn't really get to rest with this project because as soon as one episode is done, I'm already going to be working on the next.
Mm-hmm.
Because while we're done with the movement, the next episode is the history, and I have that interview on Thursday. And then from there, I still have to plan my next guest for the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lauren's kind of just going through like a marathon of work.
This is a Black History marathon for real, but I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much. And I've always been thirsty for the knowledge of this.
Oh, what a great quote. Oh, that's going on the blog if we ever write one.
The blog that exists but doesn't.
So, obviously, we're doing this again, but say the whole project in general. Would you do it again?
The whole project? I think I would.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you do anything differently?
I would find guests earlier. Do the interviews earlier.
Oh, it's that you and Reese found Jasmine forever ago.
Back in September. Literally, when I told him the idea, it was on a weekend in September. He emailed me back. He was like, this is the passion project for XLR. He immediately connected me with Jasmine. I've been connected with her since then. Reconnected with her in January. And we planned our interview. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to keep that noted for next time we do these specials. I'm excited. What would you like the next time we interview Jasmine, because that's definitely something we want to try and do again. What else do you think you would ask?
I would ask her more about what made her come to this journey. You know, for me, I was a kid when Trayvon Martin died. You know, and that was really scary, and I didn't really understand it. I was a kid when Barack Obama became president. I was a kid when I learned about Black history in school. And then I was even older. I was in college when I learned even more about Black history, because in school they only scratched the surface.
Barely.
So everything that I'm learning, I've had to go out and look for myself. And with this project, I have definitely been searching for things myself with the help of other people. And I'm constantly doing that. I'm constantly trying to figure out what I can learn. And even in other classes, I tend to pick the most controversial subjects. I did the first presentation in my PR class, and it was about blackface. The very first presentation. What is that?
Setting a standard, like, this is my voice, this is what I'm going to be talking about for the rest of this year, so get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like that for a while. Even at my other college before I transferred, in an English class, my final paper was on Confederate flags. I had to get special permission to do that.
Which is wild.
That's kind of where it started.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But for this interview specifically, what would you say your favorite moment was?
Just seeing how much she cared about the movement and having someone else voice how I feel about the movement.
Someone our age, specifically our age, slightly
She's a
older.
little older, yeah. Hearing her just speak so profoundly about the movement, it kind of causes a movement inside of you, you know?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like, everything she said was so beautiful and so well put. And she's so articulate, and she's so sweet. I love it.
There's so many moments throughout the interview where we just kind of pause for a little bit, and there's some silence where we're like, wow.
Yeah, we were in awe the whole time.
And that was fun.
It was fun. And even the moments that you guys didn't get to hear, Jasmine and I talked about the music, too. We talked about Marvin Gaye. my favorite, well, I have a lot of favorite Marvin Gaye songs. That's my dude. But my grandma's probably laughing right now. I just know she is. But we talked about What's Going On. I play that song literally every single episode. And we talked about how I've said before that he's singing about the same things that we heard in that Trey Songz song that was made in 2020 during the riots for Black Lives Matter. Like, if we're still hearing the same subject matters coming up in our music, don't you think we should address the problem? And that's what we're doing with the movement. That's why the movement continues, and it continues to grow. And no one really lets go of it. They just kind of set it down and wait for the next person to pick it back up. Welcome back to Tupac on XLR Lander University Radio.
I was vibing a little too hard, and
so good.
I popped my elbow.
Oh, is that why you were late coming in?
I was like, oh.
That's what that face was?
Yes.
Oh, you did not look comfortable.
Here are my knuckles.
Not on the Passion Project.
So old. But
okay, but continuing on our last talk break,
yes.
I was talking about Marvin Gaye and how I talked about What's Going On with Jazmyne, the song. And she talked about how she feels overcome with emotion when she listens to music like that. And honestly, I do too. I don't have like the tearful displays of emotion because, as you may know, I don't like to cry.
There's some other songs that bring you to tears.
Yeah.
Do we have them on the station yet?
No, but you're not going to make me cry on air.
I won't. Guess they're not members.
Oh my gosh, not.
that was an opportune time. I'm sorry.
It really was. But
yeah.
Yeah, so I relate to the swell of emotion. There's always, I connect very deeply with music.
Yeah.
I heavily connect with music. I feel it in every part of my body, especially in my heart. So when it comes to songs that relate directly to my experience or to the experience of people who are just like me, I get like this really full feeling in my chest, and it's like this rush of emotions I just have to express. And that's how I kind of came upon this Passion Project. I feel that way, especially about What's Going On and about every song that we've played tonight. Every single one of them, and every song that we'll be playing for the next month.
Mm-hmm. I think when people ask, like, why is there a Black History Month? One, dude, come on. Second, there's this beautiful sense of pride that we get to see in people who so often and for every day of their lives have to go through, like, surviving. And to get to see that kind of sense of pride on you, get to hear it in this interview, get to hear it in the music, it's so beautiful. So for someone who is kind of on the outside of that, it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
And again, to hear you talk about it, I'm always in awe of it.
Black power is such a magical thing.
Yeah.
It is. And that's not to say that we're better than anyone else. It's saying that we're just as good as anyone else. But when we find that power within ourselves, it is magical.
Yeah. Like, despite everything, you're still so magical. And that's incredible.
We all glow a little differently in Black History Month in February.
Yeah.
You know?
What'd you say on Twitter?
Oh, no. I said, okay, on Twitter I tweeted, don't let me get canceled. Come on now. But I tweeted, it is great. I tweeted, I'm Black every month, but I'm extra Black this month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah. But you actually hit on something that, like what you were saying earlier, or just a few seconds ago, you hit on something that I plan on asking Dr. Campbell. Why is there this sort of divide between American history and Black history when they should be the same thing?
Yeah.
But also, I think we need to address that there are two different sides of history, and we need to figure out how to bring those two sides together, you know?
Yeah.
Because Black history is American history.
Yes, it is.
But it definitely deserves more recognition, which is why we have Black History Month.
Yeah, and when you teach Black history, teach it properly.
Yeah.
Because literally just in having this show and just friending you on Facebook, I realized that so much of what I was taught was wrong. Like, I knew that so much of what I taught was wrong, but getting to see specific details, like, oh man,
didn't even think about that or stuff like that, which is why shows like this are so important and why I'm so proud of this show.
I'm like,
so proud of you.
Thank you. Like, I don't know. The feeling I have right now is that feeling I used to get like after dance recitals, where everyone's just kind of waiting for me to get off stage, and I'm just so excited to see everyone, and they're like, you did so well, I'm so proud of you, and I'm like, thanks, it worked all year.
Honestly. Aw.
Yeah, and it feels like I ran that marathon again, which it's been a great journey. I wouldn't really call it a marathon, I would call it a journey.
Yeah, because a marathon has an end.
A marathon does have an end, and journey doesn't necessarily have an end or a destination.
Yeah, it's just a journey.
It's a vibe.
A vibe. Hey guys, you want to go on a vibe?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say that next time I want to go somewhere.
And I would say, yeah, longer. I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is going to be confused, but we'll know.
That's what happens when we go to Grace Street.
Yeah.
And we go to the bamboo forest.
Yeah. Do you guys want to go on a vibe?
To the bamboo forest?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting off topic. So, what is coming next?
What is coming next, Lauren?
The History, Episode 2. I get to have an interview with Dr. Campbell. He is a professor of media and communication at the University of South Carolina.
We've got a lot of USC.
Because Reese went to USC.
Thanks, Reese.
And honestly, just in the spirit of Jasmine telling us to pay attention to things on our campus, we actually don't have a lot of professors that will... or that actually teach Black history. We don't have a lot of professors that are people of color. Mm-hmm. And I really don't think I would have found anyone at Lander that would have been like really good for this project, which I think we need to change that. And maybe this project will change that.
Yeah, so Lander, this is being aired on your airwaves.
Thank you for the platform.
Thank you for the platform. Let's keep it going.
Let's open some doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's break some glass, which is what I've been doing.
Please don't break any glass, guys.
Metaphorical.
This is metaphorical glass, and they are ceilings. Yeah. And, yeah.
What is it, like break the ceiling? I don't know. Either way, you're
glass
breaking
ceiling.
Something.
There's a glass ceiling to break through.
That's what I'm doing.
I'm so proud.
Thank you. I'm proud of you.
I'm tearing up.
I'm not tearing up because I don't cry, but I'm proud.
I cry a lot.
I know you do.
It's okay.
So I will be talking to Dr. Campbell about the history. This is what he specializes in, you know. And he actually taught Jasmine. They are very close, and Reese is very close with him as well. Reese has been learning about Black history and Black culture just as part of his career. And I guess that's why he was so willing and open to do this project. And I'm just so proud. I feel like we've had he's been a great mentor. That's what I want to say. He's been a great mentor to me throughout this.
Last week we spent like
forever
talking about
minutes.
Reese. So again, shout out to you, Reese.
Yeah, shout out to you, Reese. You're great. So what did this project mean to you? I know what it means to me, and I'll explain more of that, but what does it mean to you?
To me, it's kind of like what Jasmine said in the interview. My voice is heard, and this is kind of like a little place where I also get to be a megaphone to you. I've told you since planning this that I'll help you where you need me to, but this is yours. And so you have complete control over this. And that's kind of just what it's been for me, to just get to sit back and watch you flourish and help where I can. So that's what it's been for me. You know, a little learning experience. I feel like a little TA.
A little learning journey.
Yeah, a little learning journey.
Yeah. That's like, we should keep that phrase, by the way.
Learning journey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should keep that. For me, it's just been about learning more about myself, connecting with deeper parts of myself, connecting with other people who are in the Black community and support the Black community. This has been a lot on my shoulders, but I'm so glad that I saw it through. There have been so many times where I was like, well, maybe we should just do it this way. I didn't even know how I was going to do this until last month. Even though I've been planning this, I've been playing the music, the guests, everything I wanted to talk about, I did not know how I was going to execute this. It was scary. But I guess that's how it is when you're part of a movement. And this is like my little platform, because I always say I'm like a baby activist. I won't always be a baby activist, but this is me being a baby activist growing into a larger activist.
Yeah, this is a beautiful form of activism because we're on campus and around the globe. But one, we're opening doors here on Landers campus.
Yeah.
We're opening up more ideas for other shows. Be on the lookout for those, guys.
Yeah, we're hoping to get, I'm really hoping to get another show started about the Black community.
Yeah.
Because I just joined the Black Student Union as well.
Yeah.
We're going to hear from them.
Yes. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, are you good?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also have just a beautiful support system through all of this.
Yeah.
And we're really thankful for that.
I feel like every single professor we have has been so supportive of not only our show, but of this project and of us in general. It's so funny how I love our professors. I respect them a lot, and I feel like I get the same respect back.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me when I'll say, like, oh, we should totally ask this professor this thing, and everyone's like, they'll only say yes because it's you. You know how many times somebody has said yes to me because it's me?
I love that. And we love our professors here.
We do. We appreciate them a lot. And should we do midweek pickups before we leave?
We can do them tomorrow.
No, let's do it before we leave.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Let's do it. Yeah, midweek pickups are when we leave little notes for our professors on their doors because they don't get to interact with us because it's Rona season.
Corey's door is closed.
We'll just leave it on the outside.
No, it's not the same.
Okay, then we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, hang on. Hang on now.
Hold the phone.
Hold the phone.
Okay. You can tell that we're winding down because we're rambling.
Yeah. But so, guys, we are coming up on the end of our hour. So we want to go ahead and say thanks again to all of those joining us tonight on this journey of research, conversation, and self-discovery. Be sure to follow us on social media at 2POCXLR for updates, content, and more fun stuff. And be sure to tune in again next week, same day, same time, on XLR Land University Radio. Also, check out our website. There should be content on it soon. That's at www.2poc.weebly.com or follow the link in any of our social media bios.
If you would like a playlist, or if you would like the playlist that inspired tonight's episode, the link will also be somewhere in our socials and on our website, and I'm going to work on a blog post, and I will send it to you directly if you ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you again so much for going on this journey of Black history with me and just celebrating it, because it means so much to me, honestly. It does. Always has, always will be. So the quote of the week is from James Baldwin. Mm-hmm. I love America more than any other country in this world, and exactly for this reason. I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually.